All right, so welcome to the capsule. All right, so we're here with Tentacle Tribe. Montréal represent. Le Québec est dans la place. So yeah, I'm here with Elon, Emmanuel, Megdi, and Nosby. Welcome to London town. Yeah, pleasure. So we're here because you guys are presenting PRISM, ensemble piece. This is Tentacle's Tribe's. How many pieces have you made together as a company?
Like this is our fifth full length?
I think it's our fifth or sixth, something like that. If you don't count like our early duets.
We have to count the early duets.
Well, maybe like, I would say like...
Wait, pass the mic.
Sorry. Hi. So I would say it's our fifth full length.
Fifth full length.
Fifth and a half.
Okay, cool. And so this is a full length 1 hour piece. Yes. 5 dancers. Can you tell us a little bit about the concept, like the concept or the departure point of this specific piece?
Me and my partner back home, he's a carpenter, and we wanted to see how we could collaborate. So I was like, oh, can you build me some walls that like move? And then I like had drawn, like I wanted to use mirrors for some reason and see how many times we'd get reflected in a corner of mirrors. So he built me this little prototype, and then I was like, oh man, I think this could be really cool if we dance inside this corner of mirrors. So this started during during the COVID times. And so it took a while to like, we had one prototype in 2022, and then Rayam built the second set later on with like elastics so that the walls could like, I don't know, I feel like he should talk about it.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
So dancer / set builder.
Set builder. Yeah.
On this production.
On this production.
Okay.
But yeah, like she said, Shal, your partner,
Hershal,
built the first prototype, and we had the first residency with that prototype. So we tried a bunch of formations, we tried a bunch of stuff, but then we realized that it wasn't really doable to dance and move the mirrors. Like it's as if we would have need like technicians in the back to like do the mirrors. We had to be like 4 per walls to like move them. So right when my brain was like, yo, how can we make it like? So I came up with a system that like even the girls can like move them because they're pretty heavy, you know.
Right.
So they can move them forward, backward, like that, without having to like use too much force.
Yeah.
So I built like a system with like elastic, like the training elastic.
Okay.
Assist band.
Especially the first ones.
First ones were really heavy.
Right.
So when they were like tilting forwards, like oh snap. So there's like a system in the back that like holds the mirror, holds the weight like this, so you could pretty much like move them just like that, you know. And that made it so one person could move the wall and do all those movements. Well, even like we can be one person moving like 2 or 3 walls at a time, like tilting backwards. So that was my input.
And so you have a background also. You've worked in construction before. Yeah. But is it your first time building a set for a theater piece?
Yes. I had built a few things for like friends. They were like exploring some stuff, you know. But that was the real, that was the first thing that I built that actually like made it to the theater, made it to the stage. So I learned a lot on that, just in terms of logistic, to be able to adapt to every theater and to transport the whole thing, pack it up, unpack it, because and then you do it once, twice, and then 10 times, then 20 times. It needs to be like as durable, you know. So yeah,
amazing, and it's so great to have like within the team, you know. Because I feel like these things are also like looking for artistic collaborators and people that really understand your work and the functionality. And also, like you said, the durability to be able to take it on the road and for it to last, to be adaptable, sometimes can be a challenge.
Yeah.
So, and I guess it's also great to have you on the road. So if something happens, then you're the one who knows the construction the more like deeply.
Yeah. I guess it would be hard to like. I mean, in one of the residency during COVID, like I got the COVID.
Right.
And then I couldn't be there at the residency. They were like, "Man, how are we gonna build this?" Like, yo, they calling me like, "Yo, okay, so like, what do we do? Put this piece here?" And it's like, "Yo, yeah, it's just like that." Okay, boom, boom, boom. They managed to do it, you know. But yeah, I guess it helps that I'm on the team as well, touring, and I can do both. I can switch hat, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're pretty lucky. Like, we really function with a skeleton team in terms of like, Alon made the score. So he was often in the studio fixing certain cues, musical cues. Like if something needs to get fixed during a rehearsal, he's there. So I think like with the way funding is going right now, like I think this is the way to go for us. You know?
Yeah. Amazing. Because you have all been working together also for quite some years now. I mean, I know you both started Tentacle Tribe now in
2012, we started creating duets.
Right.
And then we expanded in 2017. McD was one of our first, I think.
Yeah.
I was there for Fractal with you. That was in 2017.
Yeah, these two came really early.
Yeah.
They've been with us for
Like, I don't know, 8 years? Something like that?
Yeah. Amazing. And okay, so I think also from what I've seen of your previous work, I think it's more, or maybe I don't know all the backstory, but I kind of get a sense that like your pieces are more driven by kind of movement rather than like a story narrative. I assume there's probably some like creative impulse or, you know, something behind it, but as it stands, the piece is not like a story from A to B. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you've built like a movement language that I feel is very Tentacle Tribe? I think also has influenced a lot of people in Canada, in Montreal, and you know, you guys have toured a lot and shown your work. But yeah, if you want to speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would say like in the beginning when me and Emmanuel started, we really just wanted to do this movement that we could mix all the things that we like and make something that didn't feel like copy paste, like just like a step from there and step from there. So in the beginning, we're really just making movement and like really like just jamming, coming up with cool stuff. But then I think that's for sure a big part of it, the play. But I would say like kind of like how a musical score is maybe it's about something, but it's also very open to interpretation. So it's more thinking about like composition. So like everything tells a story. If you play somebody in a corner in a room, it tells a different story than if you play someone in the middle of the room. So we usually have an idea of a concept. So in PRISM, when we started to like build the show, yes, the mirror is the main thing, but then what is it about? The prism, right? It's about light, visible light, but it's really about perception of reality, like how each person is experience the world differently, and also the fact that we only see a tiny fragment of the electromagnetic spectrum, which is visible light, right? So it's kind of the prism. It's also like the prison. It's like the prison of our three-dimensional reality and the possibility of us being much larger than 3 dimension. So there is a type of story, and then we could say that there is each. I mean, personally, I like to make sense of each thing. So sometimes it's not necessarily that it starts with a story. Sometimes it starts with the concept. Sometimes we just make like Lego pieces, like make pieces to fit together and creating opposition. So one thing slow with one person opposing a group, like kind of create contrast, giving light to the other thing. So creating like a narrative or an arc, more like a a wave.
Yeah.
But each part we used to like to create like many layers of information. So maybe the first layer is like, okay, the general concept is this about the show, and maybe what people are gonna understand is this part, but then each part also means something.
Yeah.
And that we cannot just pack like as we go. So we play a lot with just I guess giving and taking, like co-creating, like using ourselves as like a vessel, and we create. And so there's not like we don't come with like a score from the beginning and end, and this is like, and then he goes in there and then he says that, and it's not like that for sure. But I would say that there is a type story to it.
It's interesting because I think the way you're talking about it, it kind of sounds like maybe there's like an initial kind of concept, or maybe a point of origin is not necessarily like a story, but it's one element, or how can you explore that element with movement?
Yeah.
And then there's a story that like there's something, a meaning that emerges from it, and that helps to continue building, as opposed to saying like, let's make a piece about the light, you know, and our perception of reality, and then how can we use that? So I think it's interesting of, you know, I think we can tell from your work that I've seen that it's like there are all those layers and intricacies, but, you know, speaking to you and understanding where you start is also really interesting. So you guys all work together quite closely in the process of making. So can you speak a little bit about how that process was for this specific piece? I guess, you know, the set being an element that was new this time, but also like how did you kind of approach that with the movement that is like...
I'll say some words and then I will pass it down. Maybe everybody can say something about this, but for sure there's a big challenge with this set because it doesn't fit in most studios in Montreal. So we needed to do a lot of work without the set and just kind of imagining. And then when we get in the space that we had the set, we just basically only worked with the set.
Right.
So we just focus on creating like a storyline or like basically like a transformer, like how the set would like move from one picture to another picture in the most efficient way, because even though it's easier to move now, it's still not that easy to move.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna make like from one section to another section that needs like 5 movements to get there. So it's always kind of like, how can he move like in an efficient way to go? So the movement of the set was kind of like what it could be, if that makes sense. Like we were having freedom trying to explore all images, but certain things was just like, this is too complicated to get to. It's going to take too long to get, and it's not worth to get there. So I think that was the biggest challenge. And then, of course, Emmanuel lives in a different city, so some people will go there, back and forth. We will work separately.
That's what I was going to talk about.
I helped you out.
Yeah, I do live in another city, so that was another challenge where I would like invite each and every one of them to work on duet work. And then if we had too many duets, then we had to like, sometimes we fractalize duets into trios or quartets or quintets. And yeah, I think because at this point, Megdi, Rayem, and Céline had been dancing with us for many years, we were at a point where we could co-create with them, which was super fun for me.
Give them more freedom.
Yeah, like they know the aesthetic that we like, and it's in their bodies, and they have their own like specialities too. So I think that's what was fun for me.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we've been working with them for quite some times. Something that for me was very interested is like with the concept of PRISM, you know, like it's to also see like the color grades of who we are, you know, like it's like I'm the yellow, is the orange, is the red, and you know, like that also like kind of represent, you know, like our unique part of who we are in the company. Like I'm not someone who does breaking, I'm a popper, but obviously, you know, like I master the ground in a certain, like on a certain type of way, you know. So just being in the company and learning, you know, like the language of what Tentacle Tribe is, you know, and what can I bring to that is also represent that for me, like in, you know, in this piece. And I feel like it's quite very interesting and nice, you know, like to witness that, you know, and be part of it, you know. So those codes were super nice to create, but they also had the codes with the walls because, you know, like the first set of walls was made in wood, and then the wall that we have right now, like they're in aluminum. So, you know, like the codes are, I would say, like the language that we had with the walls are totally different today. They are very, very much easier. Respect. And yeah, you know, like we are 5 dancers, but also like for me, like we're dancing with the walls, so the walls are also part of, you know, like there are also dancers within the piece.
The 6th performer.
Yes.
And then the light is the 7.
Yeah.
Because of the 7 colors in the spectrum.
Yeah, don't forget about Ben. Yeah, it was. I think what was really dope about this piece is that like we've been working together for a long time, and like Manu said, like we were at the point where like personally I felt like I understood their concept and their approach enough to co-create with them. So when we spent time in Quebec City with you to work on stuff, you know, it's kind of like we're the only. It's just you and me, but like it's like all of us, you know. It's that whole vibe that we get in just you and me in the studio, and on like when we get in the space with the set, with the mirror floor and the mirror walls and the light, it's kind of like magical because like that whole vibe that we got after like a certain amount of years, it just like amplifies with that vibe. As soon as you step in, like in that mirror box, it's another world. The reflection goes. So like yeah, so it's like okay, you guys worked together there, made that little piece. We worked together here, but then it all comes together in that world, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like that world existed everywhere. It just like got together at the same place, you know. And I think that's what like this piece. For me, I think it's like it really shows like where we at as a group, you know, how we grow as a group. Like we're like we became like this, you know.
Yeah.
And I think yeah.
Yeah, no, go.
Like we definitely wouldn't have been able to make this like in our earlier years, you know. I think we had to get through duet work, then the group work, then I think there was steps to getting here because like it was so difficult with the walls that our dancing had to be like on point, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No.
Even with the movement too, like the fact that it is the 5th show, and they both learned like our parts in the first shows, so there's a lot of movement in their bodies that like when we were creating the first pieces, we kind of had to choreograph like every step, or it was going too far. Because like I would say to Mickey, I'll make something, and then he's gonna make a popping thing. You know, it's like to have enough information of like of the Tentacle Tribe language to understand all the concept, not just to do the same thing, but then okay, like I really understand the concept to like bring it to another level. I feel like. Even from the show prior to this, it was a little bit, but it was not on this level of like understanding. So I feel like in many aspects we would not be able to done this show, like movement-wise we would not be able to. But then of course, like the mirrors too.
And do you feel like, I think this is so interesting and like a challenge, I think for a lot of makers and a lot of artists also working in companies of like getting this kind of hive mind, or not hive mind, but a really kind of deep understanding of a language. Because sometimes if it's your natural way of moving, then it's maybe difficult to translate to another body. And then as artists in your own right, also you want to have a certain kind of ownership in what you're making, and to feel like it's you're able to make it yours as well. So I think it's like, I have a two-part question. So one for the makers, and well, you guys are all makers, but in this approach, like, is there, I'm sure there was a lot of learnings, but in terms of translating you guys' language to other bodies, were there points of friction or like things that unblocked that you can talk about in like insights into the process of learning to translate to other bodies?
I'm not sure if I will answer correctly the question,
No correct answer.
but for me, what I feel is like we've been teaching this approach for a really long time. So even like before them, we were teaching classes, and I feel that really helped a lot too. So I was teaching people, and like you say, okay, how can I make them understand and move that way?
Right.
And I just keep giving instruction, do this, do this, do this, and I say, oh, that doesn't work, and then change a bit, I'll say this until I get more clear words that like actually molding the body to be that way. So that's what we did with them, just keep giving them like feedback constantly for years until they start to like hear me in their head and start correcting themselves. Like they start doing the corrections themselves. To be like, okay, don't be like this, be like this, don't be like this, be like this. And then after, like if we don't, if it doesn't work, then you just bend it a bit. So like for this show, there was way less notes that needed to be given, you know, and every piece is less. But in the beginning, there was a lot. And then I feel like that was the process. That's why I feel like it would not, like if we would bring in a new dancer, we wouldn't necessarily have the time to do the same process as we did with them. But it's okay because it would be one person, and we could probably choreograph more on that person. But with the whole,
Yeah, with the ensemble, it's more complex. Different.
Yeah, like we could still do it, but I feel like that's the way. Like, and also I would say learning specific routines. So like learning specific parts, because a lot of our vocab, it's not like we recycle, but we are recycling. We're coming up with the lifts that we like, and they're coming back, and they come in maybe a version of that, like the same as like a footwork or a footwork pattern or like a wave or a popping concept can be flipped in different ways. Like we try to do the same thing. We try to create our signature. So there's many concepts that come back. Like there's maybe like a few little new concepts in each show, but it's more that we are keep evolving those concepts, I would say.
I feel like that's been the hardest challenge for us, is finding dancers that are open and willing to move between the spectrum of like breaking to popping, of like more animalistic floor, like full-bodied stuff, to like isolated, more illusory movement. So I think a lot of dancers have gone through the company for sure, and yeah, I think they just have to be willing to like either go to the floor or like explore how to move differently. And yeah, like we've worked with like a circus artist at some point. We had M Queen with us, which was a whacker, and they were all like crazy mobile and super strong, you know. Supple leopards.
Yeah.
They definitely need to have the quality that we. Sorry, I mean, like with both them, we could already see that this is like you could go there.
Yeah.
We can already see that this universe exists somehow in you. Like what Emmanuel say, like you have the capacity, you have that approach in your own way that is in some way like. Some way could see a similarity with it, and so that's important. And then of course like that the willingness to want to do it, because it's a lot. Like I think you guys did like a year with us before we did shows, almost in the beginning. There was a long process, and you gotta want to do it, because we kind of maybe we demanding a little bit more than, I don't know, other companies when you just do like a 5, 6, 7, 8, you know.
Yeah. And for both of you, was there like, so in this 8-year journey, like, is there a point that you felt like, you know, at this point, you know, you're co-creating and you feel like you're able to really understand the aesthetic and maybe be more like an active participant in the like suggesting or maybe generating material. Was there a point that were you always like trying to do that, or were there some years where you were more receiving it? Like, was there a point where you felt that change?
Oh, personally, like I'm always trying to learn and understand, you know, like what they were teaching me. You know, it took me a lot of time. You know, especially like the first year, like I tore my meniscus, so you know, like I wasn't like super present and be able to do like the work like I felt like I could do, you know. But you know, it took me quite a time to understand the language, because for me it's a language. It's the language of Tentacle tribe, like the same way like we're learning French, you know. So learning like all the words and how to make sentences to phrases to like a story, and then having and finding your own flow to that, you know, by respecting the language. That was hard, but at the same time I liked it, because you know, like it just showed me that, you know, like I was growing through the process. You know, obviously, you know, like there's some parts that when I understood it, there were some times where I was like, oh, maybe we can do this, or maybe that, or maybe like it's the prayer dance or whatever, you know. And you know, and then see them, you know, like, you know, like thinking about it. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that like that. Oh, we're going to take it out. Oh, we're going to put it there. And, you know, like I was like, oh, yes, you know, like now I'm participating into another lens, you know. So, yes, I'm still like the danseur, interprète.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I was like, oh, nice, you know, I can participate in another lens. And yeah. And at the same time, you know, like it gives me like more strength, you know, with who I am, you know, and they understand that, what I'm saying is also like valuable, you know, and still be in the company, because I know like there's a lot of company that you cannot do that, you know, like you're mostly like just a body and just have to, you know, like to do what the choreograph tell you to do, you know. So when those times happened, I felt like more like a human, and then I was like, okay, you know, like they're not considering me just as a body, but you know, as someone, you know, whole, and also the trust, you know, the trust, and I was like, okay, we can go there, you know, and to see that with all of us, like you said, like we were like able to, you know, having like things more sharply, so we did have to spend times, you know, like about the dancing, especially for this piece for PRISM, you know, and then focusing on the walls. But yeah, in total, like, respects.
For me, I think it was the PRISM piece where I really felt like I was able to co-create. It felt like I understood the language enough for that. But in terms of like the relationship, I feel like it's really important for me that I'm not just giving time to the company to learn something or for work, you know. I mean, I've looked up to these guys since I'm super young. I've met all of them when I was super young. So when Manu called me, say, would you like to maybe work with us? I was like, yo, of course, I'm super down, man. I've been like, you know, I liked you guys as a person, as a dancers too. So, like the growing part of it, I think is really important. That to be like every time that you spend with those person, you're learning, and you're like you're growing as a person, as an artist. You know, like they're older than me, so they have more experience. They've been dancing for a longer time, you know. I think this is something, there's a lot to learn in that. And there's a thin line between copying and being inspired from. And I think this is where you share that, you share what you have while learning something, you know, and then you're not appropriating yourself you're not appropriate. Gotta get what I'm saying. You know, mais, it's like it's a sharing. So I felt like I was everything I was learning through all that, you know, it's like I felt like I was, how to say that? I kind of lost my point. My bad. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about like the ability to share and to kind of be a participant and not just like kind of be a not just receive, but to be able to kind of feed back into the process.
Yeah, I think it's you can tell, like, depending on your surrounding, you know, with some people you feel like 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 every relationship needs to be giving, you know. You know, even if we're a context of work where I'm learning like this language, you know, and I always felt appreciated to be there, you know, and what I was contributing, you know, I felt that they were all also like all of you guys were also like taking like what I had to share, you know, as like, yeah, kind of like that.
I wanna jump on what you're saying too. Yeah, that sharing is, for me, that sharing was not transactional.
Yeah.
Comment on dit ça en anglais?
Transactional.
It was not transaction because everything that was living outside of the company was also like what I was living within the company. Like the stuff that I've learned in the company, you know, like whatever it comes to grounding, to sacred geometry, to line, to moving space, bending this, that. It wasn't just in the company for me, it was also like a reflection of how I'm just behaving in life, you know? So for me, it's like, yeah, you know, like, of course, I'm coming to do work, you know, I'm a dancer, I'm a professional, I get paid, blah, 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 but it was more than that, you know? And that, for me, this is a part of the growing where I was like, oh, snap, you know, like the way of seeing the dance, the movement, the philosophy wasn't just like, I'm going to the studio. No, this is just a lifestyle, you know? And this is very, very special because, you know, like I've worked for other companies and it's not like that, you know? And I'm just like, whoa, okay, where I'm going, I don't know, but right now, like I'm learning something and that helps me even outside, you know? So that type of sharing is very, very potent. It's not just limited by the physical, but it's like my whole being is part of it. And I think, you know, it's the same thing for you, you know. Yeah, so I think it's very important, like, to mention that because it makes such a difference of understanding the work, but to be in it and just be too, you know. But yeah, you know, like that is something that is more than gold.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. That's kind of what I start with. It's like that wasn't a goal for me to like to understand it until a point that I can co-create with them. You know, it was the journey that was like is the journey worth it? You know, is each time that I spent with them worth it for me? Yeah, and that's what I wanted to start with.
Chop, chop.
Oh, vous allez me faire pleurer.
He's ready for you.
No, I think we're like so lucky to have
blessed.
these dancers. We're super blessed. And I think another aspect of our work is that we do so much partner work. As street dancers, it's a lot of solo work. And so there's a lot of like depending on other people and that's what permitted this co-creation is that when you're in the work, because we're still in the work as creators, like you need the other person to help out. You can't be choreographing two bodies at the same time. So I think we're so lucky to have had them for so long.
Yeah. I want to say something like when me and Emmanuel first were like saying, okay, like we want to start our own thing, we want to start our own company, and like the main goal was not really ever the company or the shows. It was really just the movement. It was the idea of us as human beings losing connection to ourselves and being the full potential of our being. So like understanding, like it was more about the journey of like perfection, which is not really something that is attainable. So it was more about like sitting on chairs all the time, walking on the concrete, never connecting to the earth. A lot of things that bring us out from our natural abilities that we were like, we wanted to put all those different styles that we like, but the main thing was just more like the what is the full potential of human expression? And that was, I feel, a reason as well why we gravitate towards each other. Because I find, personally, I have my own experience with Mehdi and with Rahim, like before they come in the company, what I could see. Like I don't know if you remember, Mehdi, one time we did some show, I don't remember what it was, but it was, you did something, I did something. And then after we were in the dressing room with Monster Pop, and I had like a crystal or something, and we started talking. And that was my first, like after I was like, oh, you know, like I always like Mehdi's dancing, I always like Rahim's dancing, but when I saw, we connect on some other plane, because for me it's really important that we are physically, yes, mentally, but also spiritually aligned, that we want to keep working. So if we have the same goals, we all have our different goals for sure and dreams, but in some purpose I felt we have the same goals. And when I felt that with Rahim, I toured with Rahim before with a breaking show. I talked to him many times about those things that is the most of the things that occupy my brain. That is not, I don't really draw information from dance like that, more from nature and from other things, some geometry, and kind of see how we can like translate that. So I feel like that the want, like what Mehdi was saying too, that like something that is, even if we were not doing shows, or if we were, I feel like we would still be on this journey in a way. And that, I think that's why we were able to be together for so long time, and I think that's why they have been in the company for that long, because it's true, it's not so common that dancers stay that long, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's like a testament to, you know, both of you as like leaders and as the like source of the company, and of, you know, I think cultivating that approach is also something that like you said is not common, but then it's like to also find people who are willing to be invested on so many different levels is also like as rare as the approach. So I think finding each other is, like you said, really beautiful, and I think also a reflection on, like, you know, of the journey that you've been on, and the length of time, as the pressure maybe as artists to, you know, like create, not necessarily quickly, but to, you know, kind of always have something in the pipeline. But I think what you're saying is also a testament to, like, there is no shortcut to building trust and to building a foundation that carries through time, and I think also is reflected in the work of you know, saying we couldn't have done this piece 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I think there's something so beautiful to take away from how you guys speak of the work, but also how you speak of each other and of working together. So PRISM is on Sadler's Wells East, presented by Breaking Convention. Is there any kind of, you know, in the spirit, like I just said, let's not talk, you know, it's nice to be in the present moment, but, you know, is this a start to, like, bigger, has this opened your kind of appetite for bigger production, saying set elements, including more things? Has this turned you on or off for the future?
I mean,
Writing-
honestly, just like money. That's
Yeah.
the thing, because I feel like there's so many, like part of us, I think we can all say that like it's nice to not have a set. Like
Yeah.
after with the last show, we didn't have a set, but it's awesome to have the set. It's just about the money. It's just a lot more complicated. So I would for sure personally would love to make like a crazy set with like a lot of dancers and everything, but you know, if possible, that's another
I think
thing.
like now we're like thinking more like it inspired us to think of a set that's easily more adaptable and lighter.
Yeah.
So I think it's like it's making us work creatively. I think more like we're brainstorming with Chaim because he's going to be the set designer. So, but it's going to be lighter for sure. But yeah, I don't think we're going to go big like PRISM.
Not yet. Like maybe have like a few more easy tour shows between, and then you know.
Yeah. But I think it's so nice, and it's also interesting to think about like the balance of, you know, dreaming a dream without the constraints of like the functionality and the pragmatism of, okay, but it's too heavy, it's too big, it's too blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's like, had you known all of that before, maybe you wouldn't have said, let's do a piece with mirrors in a box.
I just remembered that when I started this, I'm like, this is not going to be for touring. It's just going to be for Quebec City. I'm just trying this out because I tried it out on Quebec City street dancers. And then when I brought the mirrors to Montreal,
Yeah.
and we're like, whoa,
Yeah,
I think we
gotta
we need to do this.
We gotta make this one.
So yeah, we did start thinking big and like whatever, because it was COVID too. So let's just like,
I mean,
go crazy.
to be fair, we talked about it. We were just like, let's do it. Like, let's do one, and like, we will do it as long as it goes.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew it was gonna be a headache a bit, but. And even now, we were like, oh, do we retire this? It was not that long ago. We were talking about retiring this show. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, maybe not, because there's a run now, so it's about to get booked a lot more.
I think, like we're gonna stop today. So there's not. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think it's like, you know, from a producing point of view, I think sometimes it's like, you know, it's really important to not like stop an idea, you know, so early that it doesn't have the chance to be born, because it might be difficult down the line. Because then you see, you know, you kind of initiated the idea saying this is never going to tour, it's just for Quebec City, and now you're in London with the show. So it is, I'm sure, not without some, you know, like not struggle, but like challenges behind it. But I think it's just a great lesson in like following the impulse, and that when you make something great with the impulse, then it does lead you to places that, you know, you might not have initially thought about. So, you know, I haven't seen the show yet, although I heard great things. So I'm really excited to see it, and also to see like as much as your language and, you know, your language has evolved, and then the language with all of you has evolved, but also how this incorporation of new elements. And, you know, I think one thing that's so beautiful about all of you and all of your work is that there's like so much imagination, you know, and so much kind of, not only visually, but just inventiveness and creativeness that I think has its place on stage, and that we don't see enough of on stage, especially as, you know, street dance, hip hop style dance companies that I think tend to not struggle to make their place, but still try to make their way and be accepted in different theater spaces. So then there's the thing to be like, oh, well, we can't come in with a set, or, you know, it's like kind of thinking, how can we even get in this space? Never mind come in with a bigger production with like set elements. So I think you coming in with that just shows that it's possible, and that, yeah, it's really great. I'm so excited to see.
We're excited too.
Woo! All right. So, any last words?
Workshop.
Yeah, but we're gonna do that after.
Oh, okay. They're gonna.
Yeah. Any last words for? Well, I mean, this isn't just London audience, World Wide Web.
Really happy to be here.
Yeah, Tentacle Tribe. All right, see you next time.